Do you ever beat yourself up? Or do you get caught up in negative thinking spirals that leave you convinced that you suck? Beating yourself up is just a mental habit, one that I'll give you a tool to deal with in this episode. You're listening to Pure Light, where we explore how to become the highest version of yourself so that you feel worthy of your craziest dreams and confident in your power to make them happen. My name is Ailey. I'm a coach, writer, and Kundalini yoga and meditation teacher. This is episode 63. I've been talking about how to clear mental clutter lately. The last episode was about how to stop thinking about your to-do list. And the one before that was about how to stop having conversations in your head. And another type of mental clutter that I wanted to talk about is negative self-talk, or basically beating yourself up. This is something that used to be a really big thing for me. It was something that I did almost all the time until I realized that I wasn't the problem. The problem was just the voice inside my head. And I talked about this before in the episode called Inner Critic, which was episode 26. So if you haven't listened to that, you may want to go back to that. But before we get into the tool to help you say goodbye to negative self-talk, I want to take a moment to use your imagination. So imagine you're getting ready to go to an event. You're getting dressed up. And as you put on whatever you're wearing, you ask yourself, do I look fat in this? Is this the right pair of shoes? Does this go with this outfit? Or whatever those questions are that come up. But you end up getting dressed, you think you look pretty good, and then you go to this event. And as soon as you walk in the door, someone comes up to you and starts telling you that all those doubts that you had about yourself are true. So basically, you look fat in that. Those shoes don't go with that outfit. What were you thinking when you got dressed? And they just berate you on every level. So not just on the physical, but they keep going, and it all of a sudden becomes so much bigger than that. It snowballs out of control. So how would you feel about that? What would you think about what that person was telling you? You would probably be like, what the fuck? Who are you? And why are you saying this to me? But the thing is, stuff like that is stuff that we often say to ourselves. And we don't even realize that we're doing it, but somehow it becomes acceptable because it's part of our inner monologue. And so it isn't something that we necessarily are always fully aware of because it's something that we kind of carry through all aspects of our lives. So beating yourself up is a sign of a busy mind. It is not proof that you suck, that you are not enough, or that there's something wrong with you. So if your mind is going on about that stuff, it isn't a sign that it's true. It's just a sign that you've gotten caught up in your head. So the first thing to do is to take a few deep breaths and focus on the sensations in your body. Because when we aren't breathing fully, we can get caught up in the mind a lot more easily. And there's something else that you can do to help with that negative self-talk, so to get it off of your mind. So this is the tool that I was talking about. You're going to need 2 sheets of paper for this exercise, as well as something to write or draw with. So if you don't have that, pause this and go grab that now. And you may be tempted to try to do this in your head instead of writing it down. And I would strongly encourage you not to do that. Because writing it down is exactly what will help get that negative self-talk out of your head. So thinking about doing this exercise isn't the same thing as doing it. When you actually write it down, it will allow you to see it in a new light. So it's really important that you actually write it down. So I'm going to talk through the steps for this exercise. Feel free to pause this as needed if you need more time for any of the steps. But otherwise, just follow along. So on one of the sheets, write down all of the things that critical voice inside your head says to you. And make sure you write it down exactly as the voice says it. Because I've seen some people do this where they write down the categories that they beat themselves up for. So they might write down things like eating, exercise, work, or school, or waking up on time, and that kind of thing. So it's kind of like the bucket or the category and not the actual thing that it's saying. You want to write down the exact thing that it's saying. So instead of writing down exercise, write down something like, you're so lazy, you skipped the gym again. You're never going to get into shape. You'll always be overweight. And keep going down that trail or down that spiral as far as you can. You may feel some resistance to doing this. That's totally normal. It's hard to look at how mean we can be to ourselves. But as I said before, writing it down and doing this exercise will help you see it from a new perspective. So keep writing them down. And if you need more time to get them all out, pause this now. And then the next step is to imagine the body that voice is coming from. So the physical embodiment of what that voice would look like. So it could be a human, it could be a character or a monster. It could be like that guy at the event. So just allow whatever that looks like to come to mind. And then grab that other piece of paper and draw out that physical being, whatever that looks like. This person, this character, or this monster that's saying all these horrible things to you. So pause this if you need more time to draw. And then give this character a name and write its name above its picture. You can name it whatever you want. And then finally, write down some of the worst things that you wrote out on that first piece of paper. So all those horrible things it says to you. So write them directly on the drawing, all around that figure, so that you can see it saying those things to you. So I know this may seem really simple, but it can really help you get a new perspective on the voice inside your head and negative self-talk, because it becomes less personal. When it's in you and you don't have any kind of external perspective of it, it just feels like part of who you are. But writing it down and imagining the person or being that is saying these horrible things to you helps it become less personal. So beating yourself up is just a mental habit. And it's one that ends up creating a lot of mental clutter and self-negativity. But just remember this, it isn't a sign that there's something wrong with you. The more awareness you can bring to your negative self-talk, the less it'll get in your way, and the less it'll make you feel badly about yourself. For more perspectives to help you free yourself from the voice inside your head, subscribe to Pure Light wherever you listen to podcasts. And endorse this episode on What Pods to help other people find it. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, may you be guided by your light.